Hi students, welcome to the session 1 of sorting of materials into groups. Students, in today's session, we are going to discuss about the different types of objects made up of different types of materials, then what are objects and on what basis they are grouped. Even we will discuss about the classification of objects and importance of grouping the materials. So this is all about sorting different types of materials into groups. Why is it important and how it is important, right? So let us start with today's session and learn about sorting of materials into groups. So first we will start with the introduction of objects. Now you must be knowing about objects. What are they? Yes, objects are non-living things which are present around us that provide us comfort in our daily life. So they are not the living things, they are non-living things. And the objects can be put together in different groups according to the type of materials they are made up of. So we use several objects in our day-to-day life, right? Objects are made up of various materials. So students, we can say that an object can be made of one material or more than one material. Also, a material can be used to make different objects. For example, glass is used to make a glass bowl. It is also used to make a glass jar, even spectacles and a mirror. So we can see that a material like a glass can be used to make different objects like glass bowl, glass jar, spectacles and mirror. So this is about different types of objects, several objects which we use in our day-to-day lives. Yes students, now what can you see in this picture? Observe the objects which are in the picture. This is the picture of a room, a bedroom, or rather we can say a study room and a bedroom. Yes. Now here you can see that there are many such materials or many such objects which are made up of one or more than one material. Like this is a window pane which is made up of a different material. These are books which are made up of different material. This is a bed sheet which is made up of a different material. And these objects which are supporting the bed, they are also made up of different material. This shirt, the shirt which is hanging over here, it is made up of a different material, and the hanger is also made up of a different material. Chair and table are made up of different material. These drawers are made up of different material, right? So we can see, we can observe that there are many different objects which we use in our day-to-day lives which are made up of various materials like window pane, a glass, even shoes, even a bowl, drawer, chair, table, bed sheets, pillows, carpet, etc. So from the picture we can conclude that an object can be made from different materials. For example, the shoes can be made from canvas. They can even be made from rubber or leather. So different objects can be made from the same material. Even an object can be made from different material and different objects can be made from the same material. For example, window panes, glass, they are made up of glass. Table and chair, they are made up of wood. Also remember that an object can be made using more than one material. Like there is some object which is made using flour, cheese, capsicum, spices, etc. So is it an object? Yes, it is a type of food. We cannot say it as an object, but we can say that some foods like junk foods like pizza, even chapati, it is made up of flour. Pizza is made up of flour, cheese, capsicum, spices, tomato, mushrooms, olives, etc. So, what we can conclude out of all these things? Yes, we can conclude that an object can be made from different materials. Secondly, different objects can be made from the same material. And the third point is that an object can be made using more than one material. So this is all about objects. So objects are non-living things present around us that provide us with comfort in our daily life. This is about objects. So there are different objects which are made up of same or different materials. Like there are some objects which are made up of these materials. Like we can use paper, and paper is actually used for making books, diary, pen, calendar. And here there is a spelling mistake. Sorry students. It is a diary, not a dairy. It is a diary. Right? So books, diary and calendar. These are the objects which are made up of paper. So paper is one material from which many objects can be obtained. Then, not to be obtained, but they can be made. Then, table, chair, stool or door can be made out of wood. Even buckets, tumbler, tub, they can be made out of plastic material. And gold, silver, iron, they can be made out of metal, which is a type of material. So we can say that different materials have different properties, and many objects are differing in usage and they can be made from the same material or the different material. So children, when I visited a place that was perhaps that was a street, and now we will talk about what materials the objects are made of. What I saw on that street when I once visited a street near the park, I saw a young boy was tapping a parking meter and discovered that it is made out of metal. Even I saw a girl which hit a hot post box which is made out of metal. So there were two objects which were made out of metal. Yes. Then I saw the children which were watching a dustbin which actually is made up of plastic but looks like that it is made up of metal. Even I saw the children that they look into a shop window and they were seeing jewelry made out of silver and gold. And finally, they identify the children, some of the children, they were very smart, and they identified the parts of a phone box which was made out from metal and plastic. So you can also go around in street or a park or any mall, and you can observe or you can notice that there are many objects which are made up of same or different material. So that was all about the introduction of objects. Now we are going to study about the objects that are present around us. So students, we see around us a chair, a pull cart, a cycle, a bicycle, a scooter, cooking utensils, books, cloths, toys, water, stones, and many other objects. So what we can conclude? Yes, all these objects have different shapes, colors, and uses. They are made up of one or more materials such as paper, glass, plastic, cloth, wood, metal, mud, soil, cotton, etc. So different materials have different properties. So we can say that our food and clothes have also so much variety in them. Not just food and clothes, there is a vast variety of objects everywhere. And we see around us all these objects which are made up of various types of materials. Even you can look around you and you can identify objects that are round in shape, like a rubber ball, a football, a glass marble. They are round in shape. Even there are some objects that are nearly round, like apples, oranges, an earthen pitcher. And suppose if we are looking for the objects that are edible, then that will include what type of things? Like oranges, apple, pizzas, etc. There is a very long list about it. We may also find that some of the round shaped objects are grouped into round shaped objects. Like if we look around and identify some objects, they are round in shape, they can be grouped into this round shaped objects. Let us say like we wish to make a group of objects that are made of plastics. So what are the objects which are made up of plastics? Yes, there are buckets, lunch boxes, toys, water containers, pipes, etc. There are so many ways to group objects. So there are many such objects which can be grouped on the basis of their shape or the materials they are made up of. All objects around us are made up of one or more materials. So can you think of more examples of materials which we see around you, which you see around? Yes, objects around us are made up of different materials. At times an object is made up of a single material. An object could also be made up of many materials. And then again, one material could be used for making many different objects. So what decides which material should be used for making any given object? It seems that we need to know more about different materials. So now let us discuss about the importance of grouping these objects, grouping these things. Yes. So what is meant by grouping? Yes, students, a system for classifying things into groups is called grouping. Like you can see here in this picture, this is a picture of a wardrobe. Now, if we want to search any colored shirt in this wardrobe, Then we'll have to remember that where did we group it? Where did we kept it? Like if you have a science test like tomorrow, then what will you do? You will search your room and you will see that where you have kept. So if you have grouped those things or those textbooks, then and then only you will be able to find your textbook, your science textbook. But if it is not grouped, then this is because your room is always in a mess. Clothes, toys and other objects are scattered all over the place. And this situation could have been avoided if the objects had been grouped properly. So we can say that placing or sorting similar things together is also called as grouping. Let me write it down for you. Placing or sorting similar things together is also termed as grouping. So grouping makes it easier for us to find things when we need them. Like a very good example is that of a supermarket. This is a picture of a supermarket. Now, this is a very good example of grouping which can be seen in a supermarket. Now, grouping is done in a supermarket by keeping similar items on the same shelf we need. So, if things are not grouped, chances are there that you will never find your favorite chocolate over there or any other thing which is your favorite. You must have seen how books are grouped by subjects in a library. So, this is about grouping, the importance of grouping. So, this is an example of grouping in a supermarket. Now, next time, whenever you visit a supermarket, you can notice, you can observe that many things are there which are kept on the same shelf so that you can find out your favorite item very easily. And that is why this grouping is done. And this grouping makes it easier for us to find things when we need them. The supermarket, library, all such things, wardrobe, all such things are the best examples of grouping, right? So we discussed about the importance of grouping objects or grouping things. Now let us move on to other topic which is very important. Yes, classification of objects. Now first we need to understand the term classification. Yes, the process of systematically arranging things into groups on the basis of a common property is called classification. So there are many ways to group objects. So this process of sorting and grouping objects or things according to some basis is called classification. Or there is one more important definition by which we can define this term. That is process of grouping things on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities. Similarities or dissimilarities means or any differences is called classification, right? So these are the two best definitions for defining classification. So there are many materials that can be grouped on the basis of their properties. So there are different types of materials that have different properties such as appearance, solubility, transparency, conductivity and behavior towards magnet, etc. So we can classify objects which are based on more than one feature. For example, the objects which are made up of wood, like desk and chair, can be categorized or they can be grouped into one. Then objects which are not made up of wood, they can be grouped into other things, like they can be grouped differently. So this process of systematically arranging things into groups on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities is known as classification. Now you must be thinking that why do we need classification? So now let us discuss about the need for classification. Yes, the need for classification is that it helps in sorting out the objects, the different objects made up of same or different material. Then it is convenient to arrange things systematically. And that is why we define this classification term as arranging of the things systematically. It also helps to identify any object, means a single object. Even it also helps in having systematic knowledge about the things. Now you might be knowing about only one brand of chocolate, but if you visit a supermarket, you can see many brands of chocolate together. So basically what we can say, that classification helps in having systematic knowledge about things. If you have no knowledge about the chocolates which are available in different brands or various brands, you can visit a mall where chocolates are placed in a very systematic manner. So this helps us to choose one of the best thing out of it. Even it makes study of different objects easier. That means in an easier manner we can come to know about different objects which are made up of different materials. It also helps to understand the similarities and dissimilarities among different objects. And it also enables us to differentiate between the members of different groups. Right? So this is all about the need for classification. Now you can just imagine that why do we need classification of objects? So before studying about the classification of objects, let us first see that into how many categories these objects are classified. So this is classification of objects, and they can be categorized into 7 ways. Like the first one is natural and man-made materials. Then matter and states of matter. As you know, the popular 3 states of matter known as solids, liquids and gases. Then appearance and luster. Sorry, it is L-U-S-T-R-E. Then it is divided into another category known as hardness. Then texture, in transparency, and lastly it is solubility. So these are some of the ways with which we can classify the objects, and we will study about all of them in detail. So now let us start with the first category of the classification of objects. Yes, grouping on the basis of common properties. So what we can say about it? Yes, materials can be grouped on the basis of their properties. Like different types of materials have different properties. So the first one is natural and man-made materials. Like natural materials are those materials which occur in nature of their own, or we can say that they occur by their own, and they can be used or processed to make them more useful. For example, wood, for example, cereals, which are obtained from the outer covering of outer covering of the crop called as bran, like oats, cereals, barley, cereals like wheat, etc. So cereals can be obtained, wood can be obtained, or coal, silk, cotton, stone, water, jute, wax, etc. All these are the materials which occur in nature by their own, and they can be used or processed to make them more useful for us. Like cereals or oats, they are obtained from the crops naturally. We do not have to make it. In the same way, there are other materials like man-made materials. So what are man-made materials, students? The materials which do not occur in nature but are made artificially by humans are called man-made materials. Means we make it. So this is a swiping machine. You can see here. It is made up of a different type of material which is not naturally made. So these are the materials like plastics, glass, nylon, soaps or detergents. So these materials do not occur in nature and they are produced artificially, or they are made artificially by humans. And that is why they are considered to be man-made materials. So this is one such category which we discussed about the classification of objects. The rest of the categories about the classification of objects will be discussed in other session. So I hope you enjoyed today's session, and now we will meet in the next session. Alright, till then, keep learning, keep enjoying.